Many years after Michael Jackson's passing, the world still carries a quiet sense of longing for him, for the music, for the magic, for the moments and images that many believed they would never witness again. Surely no one felt that longing more deeply than his mother, Katherine Jackson. For years, she had lived with the memory of her son, not only the global icon the world admired, but the boy she raised, the son she never stopped missing. Then somehow, in a way that felt almost impossible, something familiar returned. It came through her grandson. When Jaafar Jackson stepped into the iconic image of Michael Jackson in the biographical film Michael, recently released, Katherine was reportedly left nearly speechless, because what moved her was not simply resemblance. It was the posture, the eyes, the expressions, even the way he walked, because no one in this world ever knew Michael the way a mother does. Katherine became deeply emotional, sharing that witnessing Jaafar transform into Michael stirred feelings words could barely contain. Because for the first time in years, Katherine felt something she had quietly been waiting for all along. That maybe, at last, the world was finally trying to remember Michael Jackson the way she always hoped they would. Not only as a global icon, not only through headlines or controversy, but as the son she never stopped loving. Speaking to Screen Rant, King recalled, "When I went over to Katherine's house and showed her Jaafar in hair and makeup, and she was so moved, and she was in a wheelchair, and I bent down and she just said, 'That's Michael.' It was so touching. Incredible to think that we've achieved that to his own mother. Just 3 words. That's Michael. It's not. He looks like Michael. He reminds me of Michael." Because mothers notice things the world never sees. And Katherine Jackson knew Michael before the stage lights, before the sequined gloves, before the stadiums. She knew the way he moved when nobody was watching, the tiny habits, the quiet details. According to behind-the-scenes accounts, those were exactly the things that stunned her most. It was not only Jaafar's face, not only the hair, not only the costume. It's a gentle movement accompanied by familiar energy. Even more striking were what insiders called the little tiny movements. Subtle gestures with the hands, the way Michael would stand still, glance downward toward a crowd, or offer a quiet smile that somehow said everything without words.
He did the exact same thing that Michael would do.
Little tiny movements that he's doing with his hands were so Michael.
I worked with Michael back in the day and shot all the concerts.
And looking through the lens at Jaafar.
That was the part that touched Katherine most. Because anyone can imitate choreography. Anyone can study old footage. But recreating someone's spirit, their emotional presence, the tiny unconscious things that made Michael, Michael, that is something much harder. In Katherine's eyes, Jaafar was not making her son feel artificial. He was protecting something sacred, something fragile. In fact, Katherine had reportedly believed in Jaafar from the very beginning, saying he embodies my son when he was first cast. And after seeing the film, she described it as excellent, and expressed how proud she was that Jaafar captured not only Michael's image, but the gentleness and soul behind it. But Katherine Jackson would not be the only one left emotionally shaken. Because soon enough, audiences around the world would begin asking the same question. Could Jaafar Jackson actually be the perfect person to bring Michael back to life? At first, many fans were skeptical. How could anyone possibly step into the shoes of someone as iconic, mysterious, and emotionally complex as Michael Jackson? For decades, audiences had watched countless impersonators try. Some mastered the dancing, others copied the voice, a few captured the costumes. But somehow, something always felt missing: the soul, the humanity behind the myth. Then came the first look, then the trailer. And for many longtime Michael Jackson fans, especially those who had actually lived through the Thriller, Bad, and Victory Tour eras, something unexpected happened. The impossible suddenly felt possible. According to reactions highlighted by Revolt TV, many viewers admitted they were shocked by how quickly Jaafar disappeared into the role. Some fans described an almost emotional disbelief watching him on screen. One reaction read, "You won't believe it until you see it. From the moment Jaafar stepped into the scene, I was gone. It felt so unreal." But perhaps the strongest reactions came from older fans, the people who had actually seen Michael perform, the ones who remembered watching Jackson 5 performances on television, who lived through the frenzy of Thriller. They're the ones who witnessed the Bad World Tour era unfold in real time, and they saw Michael firsthand. They noticed details that younger audiences sometimes miss.
So I thought the dancing, the singing, really captured him.
It makes you feel like you're actually part of the movie because since it's such a time masterpiece, the song.
Especially since I only know him from once he was finished his prime albums and stuff like that. So seeing it, getting a chance to see the.
That may be exactly why Jaafar's performance started resonating so deeply, because he was not trying to turn Michael into something louder, flashier, or exaggerated for Hollywood. Instead, many viewers felt he focused on something much harder to imitate, Michael's essence, his gentleness. But if audiences were beginning to believe in Jaafar, that belief came with something terrifying. Because playing Michael Jackson was never just another acting role, it came with impossible expectations and enormous pressure. After all, Michael Jackson is not simply famous. He is one of the most studied, analyzed, and endlessly observed performers in entertainment history. Every movement, every glance, every breath between lyrics. For decades, millions of fans, from casual listeners to obsessive collectors, dance experts, vocal analysts, and lifelong followers, have memorized the smallest details of who Michael was, not just on stage, but off stage too. The way he stood, the way he tilted his head during interviews, the softness in his voice, even the unconscious habits most people never notice. And that meant one terrifying reality for Jaafar Jackson. There was almost no room for error. Just one wrong gesture, one unnatural expression, one moment of insincere emotional energy. That will be immediately noticeable to the audience. Even Jaafar himself admitted this role felt completely different from anything he could have imagined.
Michael Jackson is a whole other beast, and I was so self-conscious at first. It took, honestly, a few years.
And for Jaafar, the pressure became even heavier because he was not only an actor. He is a member of the Jackson family, which meant expectations came from every direction. Some people assumed his bloodline would automatically make the role easier. Others questioned whether he was chosen because he was Michael's nephew. That pressure reportedly led to moments of self-doubt, the difficult balancing act between honoring Michael's legacy while still proving himself as an actor rather than simply relying on family connection. That is why Jaafar made a decision that changed everything. He chose not to imitate Michael mechanically, not mimic him, not reduce him to famous gestures. Instead, Jaafar focused on embodying Michael, studying personal footage, observing mannerisms, understanding emotional rhythms, trying to capture not only what Michael looked like, but who he felt like. That distinction mattered, because according to many initial audience reactions, it didn't feel like they were watching someone imitating Michael Jackson. They felt like Jaafar had somehow become him, carrying the same delicate balance Michael always had, vulnerability alongside quiet strength. So why was Jaafar able to recreate Michael in a way that felt so unusually real? Perhaps the answer is simpler and far more emotional than people expect. Because Jaafar was never trying to understand a stranger. He was trying to understand family. As Michael Jackson's nephew, the son of Jermaine Jackson, Jaafar did not grow up knowing Michael only through television screens or concert footage. He grew up around the energy of the Jackson family itself, around music, around memories that felt personal. According to accounts about his upbringing, Jaafar spent time at Neverland, visited Havenhurst, the Jackson family home where Michael once lived, and shared ordinary family moments that most fans never got to see. Playing games together, spending quiet time as family, seeing Michael not as a global icon, but simply as Uncle Michael. That closeness gave Jaafar something technique alone could never fully teach. Because Michael Jackson was never just dance moves. He was softness, sensitivity, the feeling behind the performance. Many people close to the family later noted the same thing. Jaafar was not trying to imitate Michael. He was trying to embody him. That is why Jaafar reportedly spent months studying personal footage, private mannerisms, and even journals connected to Michael's world, not simply to recreate famous moments, but to understand the essence beneath them. The softness in Michael's voice, the subtle way he moved, the quiet vulnerability hidden beneath extraordinary fame. Instead of only recreating the superstar audiences remembered on stage, Jaafar reportedly focused on the human side of Michael, his heart, his love for family, and the emotional depth many people often overlooked. That is why Katherine Jackson felt so proud seeing audiences respond positively. Because for everyone else, Jaafar Jackson playing Michael was a movie. But for Katherine, it was personal. Because Katherine did not know Michael Jackson as history remembers him. She knew him before the fame, before the sequined jackets, before stadiums screamed his name. She knew the shy little boy with extraordinary talent. The sensitive son who loved music before the world ever loved him back. Katherine witnessed every chapter of Michael's life unfold, from the early Jackson 5 years, when he was still just a gifted child rehearsing endlessly, to becoming one of the most famous human beings in modern history. She watched him carry impossible expectations, private loneliness, public pressure, and through it all, she never stopped seeing the same son underneath. According to archival family footage and interviews, Katherine consistently described Michael not only as gifted, but deeply sensitive and emotional. Someone who felt things intensely, even when the world only saw superstardom. Then came 2009. And suddenly, every memory became heavier. Because after Michael's passing, Katherine often spoke about him not simply as a global icon, but as her son, the one she still missed, the one whose voice, smile, and tiny gestures remained alive inside memory. Perhaps that is why seeing Jaafar affected her so deeply, because grief changes the way people remember, especially mothers. Sometimes it only takes one familiar movement, one quiet expression, for a feeling you thought had disappeared forever to suddenly stand still inside your heart. Perhaps that explains why Jaafar's transformation affected Katherine so deeply. Because Katherine understood Michael beyond the stage lights. Rather than recreating only the superstar image, Jaafar focused on Michael's heart, the tenderness, love for family, and emotional softness that defined him off stage. Katherine reportedly thanked Jaafar for bringing Michael back to us in a way that felt sincere and loving, and for an aging mother who knew her son more deeply than anyone else. Perhaps there was no greater comfort than seeing Michael's legacy protected not only through fame, but through love, understanding, and family. But then came the moment that made Katherine Jackson truly proud. And strangely, it had very little to do with fame. Because Katherine had already seen what fame could do. She had lived through decades of screaming crowds, impossible expectations, pressure, heartbreak, and the painful cost of superstardom inside the Jackson family. This was never about making Jaafar a star. Not for her. What mattered most was something deeper. How would Michael be remembered? Would the world only see the legend, the performer? Or would they finally remember the man behind it all? This is what moved Katherine most about Jaafar's performance. He did not turn Michael into an exaggerated imitation. He did not reduce him to choreography, glitter, or nostalgia. Instead, Jaafar reminded audiences of the person beneath the icon. Throughout reactions surrounding the film, much of the praise centered on the same feeling, that Jaafar was not merely copying Michael, but honoring him with unusual sincerity and emotional truth. And Katherine could see that. A version of Michael that felt human again. This became the greatest gift of all for Katherine Jackson. Maybe that is why the words, proud as her grandson Jaafar Jackson brings Michael Jackson to life on screen, carried such emotional weight. So what do you think? Do you believe Jaafar Jackson is truly the right person to portray Michael Jackson? And do you think he captured not only Michael's image, but the heart and humanity behind the legend? Let us know your thoughts below.